Did you hear about the guy who swallowed 6 small plastic horses? Doctors described his condition as stable. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zerith Prevails. Today, let's talk about the best 5v5 generic offense teams. I'll explain what that is in a minute. I will also be releasing the best generic defense teams the day after this. Typically, I release these kind of videos like at the exact same time, but I'm spreading them out a little bit because I'm not going to be making this video every month the way I do the other ones. This will be probably like once a year or something. I'll explain in a minute, but huge shout out to my patrons, by the way. You guys are awesome, and I couldn't do this without you. So thank you guys so much. Truly, you guys are amazing. And if you want to support this channel for free, folks, all you gotta do is hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment, let's mount the algorithm, let's go! Let's talk about generic teams. That just doesn't sound exciting. So what's the idea for this video, you ask? You say, Zerith, what is your idea? And I respond like so. A lot of times people don't want to know what changes to make based off of DATACRONS because they're not keeping up with DATACRON teams. They don't care about DATACRONs. They don't care about the meta. And a lot of people with newer accounts should probably not completely ignore DATACRONs, but you should be working on more like generic versions of teams. And so I'm giving you guys the best versions of each team on offense and defense, at least to some degree, though there'll be a little variation as you see, but this is going to be something that you can work toward and say, hey, I'm going to plan toward getting these characters because this is the best version of the team. And if you don't, you can just set and forget. I'll update you every year or something. In theory, we'll see if this continues, but let me know if this is something you guys like. I do have a lot of people ask me about these about this sort of video, so hopefully it helps. Please link people who you think don't want to make their defenses based off of DATACRONs. So anyways, this is the best offensive teams. Obviously, like I said in the video description, it'll link the best defensive teams. But on offense, typically speaking, and this is why it's so tough to figure out, because generally speaking, you want Jedi Master Luke on offense. Sometimes you want him on defense, but sometimes you can put him on, you usually want him on offense. So the best version is with Cal, Revan, Jedi Luke, and Hermit Yoda. They're good on offense because they suck on defense. That they'll typically take down some Galactic Legends, not all of them, and it's an okay team on offense. Alternatively, of course, you can just split them off with Jedi Revan in the lead. I think we have that team further down the line though, so if you don't have Jedi Master Luke, don't worry your silly little head about it. Leia is a really good team on offense. Sometimes she's good on defense, but for the most part, you want this version of Leia. Now, there is a strange situation in fives where Admiral Raddus kind of wants his own team sometimes, especially early to mid game, and he's really good at countering all the different Imperial squads that are out there, or at least most of them, most of the Empire teams, even up to like Inquisition a lot of times if you know what you're doing. But the best version of Leia is going to include Adrad and Jin, and then also of course R2 and Drogon. If you don't want to have Adrad and Jin, I guess you could do something like Captain Rex and Chupio or something. You could add Kanan from the Phoenix Squad. Like, there's a lot of overlap though with a lot of these different characters. Like Old Ben is probably a decent one. Baze is pretty good, but all of these characters are wanted on other squads as well. So this is the best version of Leia, and I'm sticking to it. Supreme Leader Kylo, I mean, right now everyone's putting him on defense because there's a really good Datacron. But if you don't have a Datacron, typically you want Supreme Leader Kylo on offense, which means sometimes you can actually spare Kylo Ren Unmasked to be on a different team, like an Alliance Force user squad. But otherwise, you want to clock this so that First Order Officer is 1 speed faster than Hux. Now, I don't even know if I have that, but if you can do that, then Officer is going to go hand Kylo a turn. So Kylo will do the poke, then he gets a turn from Officer, he does the swipe, then Hux goes and resets all cooldowns for Kylo and hands him the turn. And so that's kind of what you want to do. I know that Red Trooper, it tends to be something that people want to add to this squad, and I just don't think that's the best idea. He's cool on some levels, but I would mostly just ignore that. This team is good for taking out most things, honestly, guys. Pointy Teeth Rey really does some crazy work. She uses her teeth to good effect and just destroys people, honestly. She makes this team really dang strong. The problem, of course, on defense is it's a liability because Bane can kill it. Of course, if that's the only squad that can kill it, I suppose that's not a terrible thing. I guess Jedi Master Kenobi can do it. There's a pretty decent number of teams that can beat it while it's on defense. I mean, you can go either way. So the Eternal Emperor has traditionally been pretty bad on defense, though you can throw some, like you can put some really strong Sith. If you want to put it on defense, you can, with like Traya, a full Traya squad, or you can use him on, you could put like Malgus and company with him. So your choice, but typically he's good at like efficient kills or like really inefficient Galactic Legend kills. Typically he's kind of like the weakest Galactic Legend right now in a lot of ways, and so unfortunately he just kind of hangs out. Like sometimes you put him with Bane, I guess, on offense. Do what you want, man. All right, so General Skywalker can be on defense, or on offense. He's just not that efficient on offense. If you're going for good banners, like he doesn't have a way to heal himself unless you put Captain Rex on the team, which you can, and it makes him a lot stronger. You can take out a team like Queen Amidala in that case, if you want to do that, which is pretty nice actually. It's punching way up, but even then, you're not always healing all the way. There are always just issues. If you put it on defense, people can beat it with a lot of different teams, but people also make a lot of mistakes against this squad, and you can easily steal some banners if you put it on defense. On offense, it's kind of a liability, but it is okay on offense. If you don't want to use Captain Rex on that Leia team, or on this General Skywalker team, or on like a Saw team or a Mon Mothma team, Captain Rex is a popular dude. He gets around. You can always use them on a Phoenix team. Now, probably the best option for Phoenix these days, if your opponent does it, is if they put their Inquisition squad on defense, you can use a Phoenix squad. Now, the weird part is you replace Kanan in that instance with some kind of pre-taunting tank, so that you don't lose 20% of the fights when they inevitably take a bonus turn and target Captain Rex right away. Because if they do that with their bonus turn on Grand Inquisitor, then Captain Rex can't take turns usually, and you usually just lose. You lose 20% of the matches because he targets one character randomly, unless of course you have a pre-taunt available, in which case he'll target the pre-taunt because he has no other option. Otherwise, Phoenix is just not a good team on defense. It loses to like Tuskens pretty easily. Early game, of course, this team can be decent on defense. So the CLS team, there's a lot of things that beat it on defense as well. Of course, early game and mid game, your mileage may vary, of course. This is a squad that's traditionally been pretty decent at countering a lot of mid-range stuff. Like, you can kill Starkiller with it a lot of times. You can take some people are bragging that they can take out Great Mothers with it. I don't really believe that, but it's the original team that could beat General Skywalker on defense. So decent on offense, and you have some okay regenerative powers to get your banners back up. You can get your protection back for in a few different ways. So it's not a bad team on offense. On defense, it feels like a liability. Malgus is a squad that you can put on offense or defense. On defense, it's gonna be sniped out by a lot of different Jedi teams, but otherwise, there's not a lot that beats this on defense. Honestly, it is a fairly strong team. Like Baylan can beat it. It's in good company if you don't use some like really cheap Jedi, like Basti lead with Jedi Cal or something. Team. Otherwise, on offense, however, it does take out quite a few things as well, just because it has a lot of damage between Malak and Malgus, and just kind of shuts a lot of teams down super hard. I think the best option, the best target for this is going to be like an Inquisition team, which of course, that's why we have Phoenix as well. But these guys do take down a lot of Inquisition squads. They take down, well, you could usually find something, and especially mid to late game, that they're really strong. This is also a nice team because you need all of them for the Leviathan fleet. So once you get the Leviathan fleet, you have them all at relics, and at decently high relics at that. So you can go and destroy people. Inquisition, as we've just been noting, Inquisition on defense just kind of lacks something. And they're really not good without Reva. So if you're watching this video to plan, Inquisition are just, unless you're gonna buy the Inquisition on like the Grand Inquisitor unlock pack or whatever it's called, the light speed bundle, hyperdrive bundle, you can't, it's really expensive to even just unlock Grand Inquisitor. And then if your guild isn't also actively farming Reva, third sister, pretty quickly, then the team is still not good. It is an enormous, ridiculous investment. It's very end game. And if you don't have a way to get Reva kind of early, I would just not bother with it at all. And then it's not even good on defense because teams like Phoenix and Malgus just crush it. So keep it for offense. It'll take down a few different Galactic Legends. I mean, it's still been a very strong team for offense. It'll kill a lot of stuff. None of the really new stuff, but like you can take down Leia if that's on defense. You can take down Jedi Master Kenobi. You can take down Jedi Master Luke. Not that anyone puts that on defense. You can take down Sith Eternal Emperor. Not that anyone puts him on defense. And there's a bunch of like the Mace team that they can do okay against, depending on how you play it, etc. But this team is pretty good on offense and a liability on defense. So keep it for offense. Typically, the Maul with the Mandalorian team, of course, it shares Jango with Trench, but Trench is usually just not used at all on offense in GAC. In Territory Wars, that's different, but in GAC, it's not. It sucks. Unless you have a Datacron, but you don't have a Datacron if you're watching this video. So the Maul team, if you've modded them well and you know what you're doing, you can take down a few different Galactic Legends, a few different teams, just because Maul and the mass assists can do a lot. I would say this is a fairly luxury squad, with between GAR and ISC requiring like relics and farming, and they're not required for anything. And this team is pretty mid-level, but I wouldn't put it on defense typically. I do think that this is a squad that like early and mid-game is going to get a ton of holds because it's just so overwhelming. So you can put it on defense, which we'll talk about in the defense video. I think this team was duplicated into that section. So Trench, what can you say, guys? The squad is disappointing on a lot of levels. In GAC, in Territory Wars, it does a lot of cool stuff, like counters most Ray teams. In GAC, it just kind of sits there and dies. Like Wampa kills this team sometimes. It's very sad. Let's not even talk about it, guys. I'm depressed already. So if you don't have Leia, you can use an AdRad team, and you can use it to counter pretty much any Imperial team that, like a full Empire team that can be dazed, because they dazed and gains turn meter, which most Empire teams rely on turn meter gain. So like Starkiller, it won't beat, but like Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, heck yeah, of course it will. Not all Dark Trooper Moff Gideon teams, however. So anyways, this like Iden teams are the really ideal one to take down, though I don't think Iden is a very good team on defense these days anyways. But this team does a lot of good stuff on offense. On defense, not as much. It loses to pretty generic bounty hunters, but you could put it on defense if you want. If you don't have turret or don't want to farm him, you can always throw in Cassian, because you'll have him relic 8 anyways if you have profundity. Otherwise, this is kind of, I mean, you have to farm and gear bays and K2, which is kind of a stretch for a lot of accounts early game. This team is significantly weakened if you don't have at least one of these two tanks, however. So early game, sure, you could put like Biston and Cassian and some other random rogue one. It's just not it probably does okay for you. It's not amazing though. Let's see. So Gungans, you can put it on defense. Actually, a lot of people don't know how to counter this team, and it's really strong on defense in general. On offense, however, it's also very, very strong. It counters like most things. It is so obnoxious, and even though the AI knows how to play, like it knows how to shoot your stupid shield generator thing, it's still, there's just not that many teams that can beat the overwhelming nature of all the bonus turns that they get, and all the just madness that transpires with the stupid frog team. So for offense, this is a very strong team for offense. Of course, you can put it on defense and annoy your opponents too, so that's nice. Bane is your get out of jail free card. He takes out pretty much anything in the game. Like there's a few squads that he doesn't mess with, but for the most part, you keep him for offense. You give him your best mods, your best relic levels, like enough Omicrons and Zetas to make yourself happy, and then unleash him to your enemies' dismay. Here's some pirate stuff that maybe they'll be good on offense or defense. We don't have Hondo yet, so we're not gonna really mess with that. Hondo will probably have the kit about a little bit later this month, the month of the September of 2025 is what we're guessing, Galactic Legend Hondo, but we don't have him yet, so I'm just using a old like neutral version of Hondo as the pretend lead. We don't have Jod Nanawood. We just got his kit today, actually, so we can look forward to that. Look forward to it. All right, so if you want to use if you don't have Jedi Master Luke, or you want to use something different with him, you can always use Revan on offense. Using Mace as the 5th is really nice. Of course, Mace on a Kenobi team is also really nice, so your mileage may vary. You can make your decisions, whatever you want to do with that, but Bastie's really nice because she buffs the rest of the team when Revan is lead, and she really super buffs Revan and herself as well. If you don't want to use Bastie here, though, like I say, Mace is really good, and you'll be able to counter a lot of cool stuff. This is my favorite team to take out, like a Maul squad with Mandalorians, for instance. It does some pretty cool stuff. It's very strong, guy. Like very versatile for how old Jedi Revan is as a character. It's just amazing to me how good he still is. Bounty hunters, some version of Bosk with like aura lead. Sometimes you can snipe things out easier, just because you have to do actions when you have a buff. Because everyone starts with a buff, you just get and you have a couple mass assists, you get your contract fairly quick, and Mando just snipes someone if you want. early and late, or early and mid game, this squad is amazing. You can even have Zam on here for those, but I don't know if the Omicron's worth it long term. Like late game, bounty hunters are just not used at all, really. So they're fun, they're cool. Definitely an offense team. Put it on defense and they die. Traya squad. This squad, so you really need the Omicron on Savage and Traya. Those should be some of your earliest Omicrons, in my opinion. They're just amazing on offense. You can also, early game, you can use a Traya squad without a Savage to take things out, and then Savage can just solo things on his own. Early game. Mid and late game, you're gonna struggle to do that sometimes, but this squad is very, very strong when properly assembled and with all the relics and Omicrons, etc. So we have the two batches. The bad batch doesn't counter anything. Early game and late game, sure, but you're really not going to be working on, you shouldn't be working on Bad Batch early game anyways, unless you want to get Lord Vader, but he's the most expensive galactic legend ever, even if you include Ahsoka in a lot of ways. I don't have time to expound on that, but Lord Vader's probably not worth working on, and neither is their, I mean, their ship is great, but it plays, what, fourth fiddle? It's like the fourth best fleet in the game, which is fine. But working on having to relic 3 different characters, and then you really want to relic up Echo on top of that, because what's the point of working on the other 3 if your Echo is going to also suck? You may as well try to get the squad somewhat usable. They're not very good. The new Bad Batch team, the one that are part of Order 66 raid, they're I mean, a lot of people can have them relicked, and that they'll take down things like Balin on offense, or they'll take down sometimes take down like a Queen Amidala squad. Of course, you need that they require a lot of Zetas. They really want a lot of Omicrons. Your mileage may vary, but if you already have this team, it's pretty good on offense. It's also actually pretty sneaky strong on defense. So, whatever you want to do with that squad. Put it on defense. You don't have to learn all of the kits and stuff. Like these guys have a really complicated kit, and it's very challenging to use well. Imperial Troopers, amazing team early game. Late game, you never use them hardly, unless you need to clean up some Galactic Legends, which typically they do that for most Galactic Legends. If you've killed everything but that GL, like they clean up Jabba pretty nicely. They share a lot of characters with a lot of like kind of dubious teams. It's like, oh yeah, well sure, you have some overlap if you want to use Iden instead. Iden on defense early game and mid game is probably okay. Late game, she just gets destroyed by Adrad, gets destroyed by like Dash, gets destroyed by Phoenix, tons of stuff she just gets worked by. So you have to keep her for offense, but then she doesn't really counter that much on offense. So I don't know what you're doing. Like, you kind of want to put relics and Omicrons on her because she has a good ship and she hits hard and she seems cool. And she has, I don't know, like droids on her back and stuff. She's neat, but probably not the best investment, to be honest. The Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team probably wants to steal Scout Trooper, which also and sometimes Stormtrooper and sometimes Death Trooper. So and those are all characters that really want to go with Iden. So Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team is significantly better than either of these other Imperial Trooper squads. Go figure. It's okay on defense if your opponent isn't going to have Adrad available. Really though, it's pretty good on offense because it messes with teams that have a lot of turn meter shenanigans, which and if your opponent casually kills a lot of your stuff, that's fine because Dark Trooper Moff Gideon just revives them. It's a pretty nice team on offense. Sometimes you can throw Enoch on there if you have the Zombros for the assault battle or whatever. The Great Mothers, some like kind of parallel overlaps. It's not really an overlap, it's team parallels, because you have the other two Zombros here going with the Great Mother's team if you're good enough. I mean, this team just kills so much stuff. It is crazy. It's absolute mayhem. They do a great job of just tearing up whatever they attack, And if you mod them correctly and you really want to work on, you know, the relic levels and modding and everything, this team can counter like the new Galactic Legend Ahsoka. It can counter, I mean, it can do a credible job at least of taking out most of a Leia team, or maybe even a full like kind of weakened Leia team. Some people are saying that they can take down Jabba. And they just, the list goes on, man. These guys are great on offense. Also decent on defense, so it loses to Malgus and Traya pretty easily. The early game and mid game, this Nightsisters team is amazing. Late game, they don't counter as much, but the fact that they have, like, they just keep reviving if you have a decent relic, old Daka, like, in some ways, a lot of times early game, you just want to put the Zeta on old Daka. You want all the Zetas and Omicrons except for maybe Asajj, but then the team, even without relics, you just put relics on old Daka, and then the team just dies and dies and dies, and she just keeps reviving them and making them all stronger as they continue to revive, and they eventually overwhelm their foes. It's really fun to see like General Grievous chop this team up and slowly make them invincible. It's pretty fun. Are you really gonna go for Dr. Aphra? I don't know if that's a good idea on any level, but once you unlock her, then you probably want to put tons of Omicrons and Zetas and relic levels on them. B2 really wants to go with her. She counters like Jabba, and that's basically it. I mean, a couple other random things, like a Fin Zori team and stuff. But for the most part, this team doesn't really counter like a ton of stuff, and it's not that efficient either. Like sometimes she can get most of her banners, but usually not. And then, I mean, the thing is, does Grievous really get used on offense that much? In the early game, yeah, absolutely. In mid game, a little bit. In late game, never. So you can throw B2 with Aphra and be happy. Otherwise, Grievous, it's just such a sad thing. Like, they added Stap to the game, and I was so excited for it to rejuvenate this team, and it did make the team stronger. It just didn't make it better enough to be used consistently in the end game. So if your opponent's placing like CLS or Starkiller, this is the team for you, man. It really can do some really cool stuff if you know what you're doing. I have a ton of videos from like 3 years ago of this team just destroying things, and it's just no longer, man. It used to counter some Galactic Legends. It used to do so much, and now it just sits there. Boop. Did you like the sound effect? That I've been working on that. I haven't. That was a lie. Bo-Katan, one of my favorite teams on offense. I can't believe it took this long to get to Bo-Katan, but this team will counter Jedi Master Kenobi. It'll counter Ahsoka teams that don't have Ezra, which, yeah, your mileage may vary on finding those. It'll counter like most teams that aren't a Galactic Legend. It'll get like most Galactic Legends for the most part, except, you know, it's kind of a weird way to say it because a lot of those Galactic Legends will never be on defense anyways, like Sith Eternal Emperor or Jedi Master Luke. So anyways, this team it's the gift that keeps giving. It kills the frogs really nicely, the Gungans. Like it takes out like most of the stuff that we've already seen, guys. This Bo-Katan squad is just a heavy lifter and keeps destroying people. Getting her to Relic 8 is probably one of the better ideas you've ever had. Congratulations. Here's Wampa. Yay for Wampa. And now we have this really convoluted list of UFU teams, unaligned force users. So, like the generic version of Seer with Malicos is great if you really want to get to the point, like if you want to put all those Omicrons on and everything. You know, there's Fulgrim, you can put Scavray here, you can put Crew, whatever you want to do. And if you do that, then Starkiller can just have his own team with Emperor Palpatine and Mara Jade, and they can do their own happy thing. They can sit there and sing Kumbaya and hold hands. It's really fun. It's a fun team. It can counter like Jabba squads. The Seer Malicos team can counter like the old school Rey teams that don't really have Ezra on them or anything, or any of the new good stuff. You can also throw like Maul on the Seer Malicos team if you want. There's lots of different versions of this. More and more I've been finding I've just been throwing Starkiller on this squad just because there's so many characters available. Now early game, you probably want to split the two up. You probably need to split the two teams up. And early game, you probably don't have access to Malicos, frankly. So that sucks to be you. But the best version of the team, of course, has Starkiller with Seer Malicos, and yes, that is an expensive team. There are an entire assload of Omicrons available, or associated with this team, but it's good. I mean, it's fine. You can also put this team on defense if you really want to get frivolous. Let's see. So on offense, you can't have Saw on offense. I see Saw as more of a pretty much just always on defense team. If you don't have a Saw squad, a good one, you can have Mon Mothma. You really want Luthen to make the squad actually do good. A lot of people are getting some good use out of Mon Mothma, taking down some of the Galactic Legends with her. She's pretty fun. Of course, to use her, you have to get Scout and POW up to relics, which is kind of a deal breaker for a lot of people. So I don't blame you if you don't want to do that, frankly. You kind of want Kyle Katarn as well, and he kind of wants to go with Saw. So you kind of basically just have to choose. Just like the Rebels of old, do you follow Saw or do you follow Mon Mothma? You just kind of have to make that decision. You can't really have both. But this is a decent team on offense if you know what you're doing with it. Let's see. This is a squad I've been getting into lately. This Fin Zori team with Hero Poe and Rose. It's expensive for most players. Like if you have all these characters farmed for Rey, then I guess it's not too bad. You still have to farm Zori. You have to use her Omicron. You have to give her Zetas, and then you have to put a Zeta on Rose and an Omicron on her as well, and Zetas on all the bros, and it gets expensive. And then you need really strong, fast mods for them. But if you do all that, then you have a team that is the best turn meter train in the game and just deletes all kinds of stuff. I fully expect it to kill all the Ahsoka teams next season. We'll see, but of course that's talking about the meta, the current meta. So this team is really fun on offense. You can also put it on defense if you want. If your opponent doesn't know what they're doing, they will just get steamrolled every single time. Let's see, this Dash squad. If you have the Omicron on him, then Vendor Chewie just keeps reviving his friends over and over again. You could throw Nest in here instead of IG-11 if you wanted to, just because L3 probably cleanses you enough, and IG can help you with banner regen and everything. IG-11 is a fun choice there too. And then Tuskens are terrible on defense. They get rocked by tons and tons and tons of stuff, but they also take down teams like Phoenix or any other turn meter heavy teams. So if you happen to have Tuskens, I guess do what you want, man. Go crazy. And that's it for offense, guys. So the defense team video I'll record in just a minute, but I won't release it for another day. It's probably going to be a link in the video description that isn't active for a full day, but you can anticipate it. So anyways, guys, what teams do you think should go on this list that I didn't add? I would love to hear it. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zerith prevails, and he wants you to prevail too. Take care, folks.